It's 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 6 o'clock in Chicago. And 7 p.m. in New York City. Hi, everybody. I'm Mad Dog DeCipio. It's a very special night. It's WrestleMania recap. This is the show, I got to say. It's the show of shows, and it's our show of the week. This is our epic, and I say epic because I got two heavy hitters tonight. I got the mouth of the South, Amelia the Pitbull Chapman. And I got Michael Armageddon. If Murphy's Law were a person, it would look like Michael Murphy. How you doing, Murph?
Angelo, I am wonderful. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about WrestleMania 40. Everything that happened, all the ins, all the outs, all the recap, all the glitz, all the glamour of the grandest stage of them all in professional wrestling, WrestleMania 40.
Absolutely, and that's one hell of an intro, and that'll get us right into it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Amelia.
Yes.
Let me start with you because we always do ladies first around here. What did you think overall? You know, and we're talking about 4 nights here.
Wow.
So let's talk about all 4 altogether. Overall, what did you think of the presentation last weekend?
I was just in awe because I remember growing up, there was only one night that they did WrestleMania. Now it's like,
Yeah,
like
remember?
a huge event. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to do one night. It was like 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
And you could and you left it going, oh, I wish there were more. I wish there were more, right?
Yeah. And
Now
yeah.
you got 2 nights of WrestleMania, 6 hours each night. And now you got 4 days in a row of WrestleMania.
Right. Because I remember they did the Slammy Awards. Remember that the night before? And they would do
sure.
the Hall of Fame. And then they did the big WrestleMania. That was
we're going to talk about that too because they brought the Slammies back.
Oh, good.
The Slammies have come back. And we're going to talk about it. The other thing that that transpired this weekend, very, very interesting, is they added something called WWE World. Now, I want to tell everybody, Murph, do you know what that was, WWE World?
I believe that's where you could do meet and greets and buy paraphernalia and that kind of thing.
That's exactly what it is. What they did, it used to be called WWE All Access, but they changed that. They made it much more interactive now. So what they did is you can go to this WWE World. You buy a ticket for it, right? You go in, and they have not only meet and greets, they got Q&A sessions in different rooms in the convention center, right? And they've got, of course, up to from asshole to appetite with merch, because everybody there's selling something, making $1. The biggest sellers this year, as you might guess by looking at Michael Murphy behind him, the biggest sellers this year were replica championship belts. Going for, and listen to this, guys. The average cost, I'm not even making this up. Go look at it. If you think I'm kidding, go on to WWE.com. The average cost of a replica championship belt was $675.
Yes.
The average.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Some more, some less. Because Mike Murphy's got about $2,000 in belts in that cabinet behind him.
And each one of them earned in the ring.
Yeah, right? Well, let me start with, I'll tell you what, Murph. Let me bring up on the big camera here. And since, you and I were talking about this a little bit off camera, let's talk about this. Let's start off I want to start off in sequence from Friday. Go from Friday to Monday. So but we're going to be here for at least 90 minutes because this is going to be a long show tonight. Let's talk. Murph, what was your overall thought on the card for Friday? Now, I know you and I talked about this. We didn't see much of it.
Friday, the card for Friday on Friday Night SmackDown, I wasn't really interested in, mostly because it was a lot of undercard wrestlers. It was something to put on in between commercials for WrestleMania and spots for going over the history of what feud and who is involved with what.
Yeah, I think it was, and to your point, I think it was a lot of talking points to build up for Saturday and Sunday. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely.
The other thing we need to talk about with regard to Friday is, of course, the illustrious class of 2024. So let's talk a little bit, Murph, you, me, and Amelia. Let's talk about the Hall of Fame. First of all, are they, in your opinion, because I'm going to offer my opinion later on, but I want to hear what you guys think. Are they doing a better job in the Triple H era than they have in the McMahon era?
100%, Angelo. From what I saw, everything that was done from the Hall of Fame induction ceremony till the very last second of WrestleMania was 110% better than what I've seen in the past. I will actually go on record and say this was the best WrestleMania I've seen in about 10 years.
And that opinion, I will tell you, is echoed by tens of thousands of people in this country and tens of millions around the world. Triple H, Paul Levesque said it best himself. This was the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And I will go on record as saying I will not disagree with that. I absolutely concur. And I think that it's clearly got Stephanie and Paul's fingerprints all over this thing. I really believe it's got.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's got Paul, particularly Paul, because he was a wrestler. Now, people don't understand what that means. And let me tell you what that means. He knows the wrestling mindset.
Mm-hmm.
He also knows the fan mindset because every great wrestler was a great wrestling fan.
Yes.
And Triple H is a historian when it comes to wrestling. This guy is far wiser than his 45 years. Okay? And he's a young guy. He's only 45.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah, but he could talk to you about wrestling from the 1910s and 20s. Because yes, folks, it was around then. It was around then. They wrestled in the carnival. People don't realize that. And lo and behold, long story very short, you have now professional wrestling as a mainstay on television in every country on the planet. I think, Amelia, that if we're going to be honest about this, if we're going to be fair about this, I'll give Vince McMahon credit in that he opened up the door and set the path.
Yes.
He set the table. Triple H and Stephanie brought the food.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely, because might as well put somebody that knows what they're doing in the right position, because he was a wrestler, he knew the mindset, and he already knows what to expect and what to do because he was already a wrestler. Might as well put somebody in that position.
Well, I know where you're going with that. Mm-hmm. But I know Mike Murphy for 25 years, and I know the look on his face right now. So go ahead, Murph.
I beg to differ, sir.
I know you do.
would
Go ahead.
say Vince McMahon did not set the table. He
Okay.
changed the cuisine. Dusty
Ah,
Rhodes, may he rest in peace,
touche.
set the table. Vince changed the cuisine.
Touche.
Now, what do I mean when I say Dusty Rhodes set the table? A lot of people don't realize that Dusty Rhodes had come up with Starrcade, which then became, Vince McMahon took and became Wrestlemania.
Yep. This is true. Can't argue with the history. Within the context of WWF/WWE, certainly Vince brought a new kind of pizzazz to wrestling. Some people say too much glitz, too much showbiz, but you have to remember something. Vince McMahon Sr. was a wrestling promoter. Vince McMahon Jr. was a television producer. Big difference. Big difference. A television producer is not a wrestling promoter. The old man was a promoter. Vince was a producer. He knew how to do television. And he did it very, very well. I will absolutely give him that. What I will never give him is the authority to take away the term pro wrestling from us, the fan, and rename it sports entertainment. I abhor that term.
Oh, yes.
I hate that term. It's not sports entertainment. It's either sport or it's entertainment, but it's not both. And if you're going to be honest about it, Dusty Rhodes gave us pro wrestling. Triple H gave us pro wrestling. Even Stephanie and Shane McMahon, to their respective credits, gave us pro wrestling. But the old man, Vince McMahon Jr., did not. He took our wrestling away. Paul Levesque gave us our wrestling back. And that's why I believe we are on the dawn of the next, and I'm going to say this now because in a year I want to hear this. We are on the dawn of the next golden age of pro wrestling, and you witnessed it last weekend in Philadelphia. Anybody want to argue with that?
No, you're absolutely correct.
Go ahead, Murph.
Vince McMahon at the time brought in characters. You had characters at the time. Before that, you had Andre the Giant, the Executioners, Chief Jay Strongbow. Then you had characters like Duke the Dumpster Droese.
Dear God. He's been a guest on this show, by the way.
Right. Tatanka. Sergeant Slaughter, Hulk Hogan.
Sure.
You had characters. The glitz and the glamour really came in when it got to the Attitude Era, where it was glitz, glamour, a lot of TNA, that kind of thing. Now,
that's the Vince Russo era.
As far as professional wrestling to sports entertainment, you got to remember, back in the day with the coalition, because I'm the state athletic commissions, they couldn't really call it a sport, because if they called it a sport, Vince would have to supply insurance for the wrestlers, which would cost him more money. If he made it sports entertainment, then okay, it's not really a sport, it's entertainment. Well, so that way he was able to save money. You know.
Well, let me. I got to jump in here because it's really important because you're on a very important subject. One of the things that he did in calling it sports entertainment was he took it out of the hands of the athletic commission so he wouldn't have to pay insurance or taxes to the state.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he got away with it in New Jersey, and New Jersey said, you know what? All right, you don't have to pay taxes if you call this something other than professional wrestling. That's where the term sports entertainment came up. You can thank New
Right.
Jersey for that.
Oh.
In fact, specifically, you can thank Larry Hazard, the former chairman of the New Jersey State Athletic Commission, who came up with the term sports entertainment. Vince McMahon did not, by the way, just so you know. The term sports entertainment came from Larry Hazard, former New Jersey State Athletic Commission chairman. Okay, so I digress. Let me go back for just a second. To make Murphy's point, and it's really important we do this, when Vince did that, diehard wrestling fans like Michael Murphy and myself and Amelia, we lost the right to say pro wrestling.
Yeah.
It was taken away from us surreptitiously. So what he did was the guy whose father gave us wrestling, his son is taking it back because he wants to produce a glitzy television show with wrestling as the background. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, and a couple of years ahead, let's talk about it because it's important. We now have WrestleMania. Leon's here. Hey, yes, you're
Hi, Leon.
absolutely right. Leon, he is Larry Hazard is also, yes, a former boxing referee. He sure the hell was. But he served as the chairman of my state's athletic commission for almost 40 years. Think about that. 36, 37 years, almost 40 years as the chairman of the athletic commission. And did a great job. I will say that he did a great job. But the one thing he dropped the ball, Leon, he dropped the ball when it came to pro wrestling. He really, really did, brother. Because because he took it away from us, the fans. I'm not going to get into a deep dive on it. We still have to talk about Friday. We haven't even touched the Hall of Fame yet. So Amelia, I'm going to
Yes.
go with you on this one, and I'll circle back to Murph.
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame. Tell me your favorite moment of the Hall.
Well, I wasn't really sure, but I think that The Rock's mom, I think she did deserve to go in the Hall of Fame because I think she did have a lot to do with wrestling.
Well, you mean, yeah, the Rock's grandmother.
Grandmother,
Yeah.
yes. Because
Well, his
after a
mother
while.
was there. His
Mhm.
mother accepted the award
Mm-hmm.
on behalf because it's her mom.
Yes.
The Rock's grandmother is Rocky's mother's mom.
Yes. Yeah.
That was I think it was important to recognize her.
Yes.
Because Mrs. Maivia, the late High Chief Peter Maivia's wife,
Yes.
Mrs. Maivia, after Peter Maivia passed away, she took that floundering promotion in Hawaii and made it a multi-million-dollar business. It's still going strong today.
Mm-hmm.
Still going strong today, making money.
Yes.
What else? Let's talk about that. That's one induction. What else, Amelia? What other induction stirred your emotions?
Let's see. What was his name? I can't think of the manager. Paul. Was it?
Oh,
Paul?
Paul Heyman.
Yeah, I think it was well deserved for him because when he started out, he started like pretty much as a nobody. Nobody really knew him, and then he started off in his mom's house. He had like a curtain background, everything, but he brought a lot of good names to the business, I thought. as a good manager at first.
Well,
heel, and then
what did he bring more than names? Mike
Um,
Murphy, you go do take that one, Murph.
Oh, okay.
What did he bring besides names?
What did Paul Heyman, aka Paul E. Dangerously, bring to the
Dangerously.
table?
Dangerously, yep.
Well, I tell you what, Paul brought charisma. He brought fact. He
Yep.
wanted to buck the system. He wanted to change the system. And that's
He sure the
exactly
fuck
what he did.
It's exactly what he
If it
did.
wasn't for Paul, if it wasn't for Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman, when I say this, as a manager, isn't every man's manager. He can tell a story with a look on his face.
Yes.
He can
Brilliant.
draw you in
Brilliant.
with a look on his face. Or, for example, he was walking backstage with Solo Sikoa, and one of the interviewers goes, "Mr. Heyman, oh my God!"
Yeah.
And you believed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had the power to make you believe it.
Yeah.
And that
he is people have said, Murph, I'm sure you've heard this. Paul Heyman was a guy that could make you believe every line of shit that he was handing you.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you something, folks. He owed the workers of ECW collectively almost $11 million in back pay, which to this very day he still owes. And if you ask the surviving members of ECW that are still alive, they would work for him tomorrow if he asked them. They would work for him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Mike Murphy, we know a guy. Me and Mike Murphy know a guy kind of like that. His name's Dino Santa. But the problem with Dino is he believes his own bullshit. You're being very quiet, Murph.
He's like looking at him like,
I do not recall that question, Your Honor. I do not recall that day in question.
He pleads the fifth.
I hear you. Moving on. My favorite induction, I have to say, was Paul Heyman's induction because they made it right. They let Paul go first. And in so doing, Paul set the tone for the whole night. All right? He set the tone for the night, dropping F-bomb after F-bomb. Dropping double entendre on top of double entendre. But what he did most was he stirred that crowd into a frenzy to where they didn't want him to leave that stage that night. That, my friends, is how to cut a promo. If any wrestler is looking at how to do a promo, look no further than Hall of Fame 2024, first inductee, Paul Heyman, a.k.a. Paulie Dangerously. The other induction of the night that was a surprise because of how bad it was Alundra Blaze inducting Bull Nakano. I'm going there with you, Murphy. Murphy, let me bring you up here with me, baby.
Oh no.
Okay, Mike, let's talk about it. It's you and me, kid. Go ahead, let it rip. I knew
where
it was
do
going
I
to get
start?
Tear that Band-Aid out.
Where do I start? First off, Bull Nakano, no disrespect to her. One, doesn't look the way she does.
No,
I
no.
mean, she's lost a ton of weight, and that's good for her. But if she didn't have the face paint on, you could be standing next to her in McDonald's and not know who the hell she is.
Exactly. She was completely unrecognizable. Completely unrecognizable, Murph.
Alundra
Yeah,
Blaze.
what happened to her, Mike?
You used
what happened to that woman?
Words. My first guess would be a lot.
Yeah, that's the truth.
But okay, she learned a couple Japanese words. She studied under Bull Nakano. But I mean, you could tell that she's like this. When I was training in Japan, like what? What?
Did somebody pull her string?
It's the Hall of Fame induction. You're supposed to speak from the heart, not from the teleprompter.
Yeah, she had trouble reading the teleprompter that was like 5 feet in front of her. Because when the camera pulled back, you could see the teleprompter in front of her.
Oh my God.
Now, all you have to do is it's like this. The words are here and they just scroll. All you got to do is read them.
Just go like that, yeah.
You know, just keep up reading them. I think the problem was, first of all, you know, in fairness, Medusa Michelli, you know, Alundra Blaze, her real name is Deborah Michelli, by the way. She's one of my people. She's Italian. But I'm not claiming her.
Well, that explains a lot.
Oh, low blow.
Coming from a guy named Murphy.
Well, I didn't say I was any better.
Touche, I'm with you, Murphy.
The Dogtown door's opening.
But here's
the
thing, though.
I don't care. His last name was Heyman, okay? I mean,
right? I don't think that Alundra Blaze did herself any favors by not putting her reading glasses on, because she can't see without them. Now, I don't know who told her that it was okay to go out there without them, but I know this woman, or I knew her well enough to know that if she don't have her glasses on, she blind as a bat. She can't see shit.
I'd have said, "Here, use mine."
Yeah, I mean, her glasses
wanted to be there.
Murph, her glasses look like Coke bottles. Okay. Yeah, she's got they're thick.
I'll be honest. I really don't think she wanted to be there, and the only reason she was there was
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, because I got the impression when Bull Nakano was doing her speech, which took way, way too long because she couldn't speak English really well. If you looked at Alundra Blaze standing in the corner there by the ring post, she looked like she had the look on her face like anywhere but here right now. Like, I'd rather be like at a restaurant eating. I'd rather be home sleeping because I'm tired, because she looked like she hadn't taken a nap, you know?
Yes.
And here's the funny thing. This is going to scare you, Murph. She's your age, okay?
Thank you. I didn't think I could feel any worse about myself than I already do. Thank you.
She's your age, okay? What I'm telling you, that's a compliment, because you look great for your age. She looks like she's 10 years older than that. She really looked beat. She looked beat down. She really looked.
Alundra Blaze looked like she'd rather have been hanging out in front of Pat Steaks getting a cheesesteak.
Exactly. Anywhere but here.
Mm.
She just had that
Yep.
look. Yeah, for sure. What did you guys think of Muhammad Ali's wife being there? Because that got a lot of mixed reaction on social media. Did
Ooh.
Muhammad Ali have did he have a place in the Hall of Fame? What do you say?
No.
All right, Amelia, I'm going to bring you up.
Yes.
You had an immediate no.
Right,
You
because he
had
wasn't a wrestler.
Okay, so does that discount all of his accomplishments to wrestling going back from 1968 to the present?
I mean, to me, he wasn't a wrestler for the WWE for me. So
Well, he was
in my
never.
era.
No, he was never a wrestler. But what I
Exactly.
will say this: Muhammad Ali was inspired. He got his whole. Muhammad Ali got his whole gimmick.
Mhm.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. You know where he got that from?
Dusty
You're
Rhodes,
going to
right?
laugh when I tell you.
Wasn't it Dusty Rhodes?
No. Superstar Billy Graham. Do you know where Muhammad Ali got his colorful robes from? Gorgeous George.
Gorgeous George.
Gorgeous George. Exactly, Murph. Gorgeous George. Muhammad Ali was a huge wrestling fan, and he used wrestling to help him boost his boxing career.
Yeah, but to me, he wasn't a wrestler, and I think that spot should have gone to somebody that was a wrestler, or like maybe like Miss Elizabeth, or like China, like we had talked about before.
Well, I understand that, but he had major contributions to the world of wrestling. You can't discount that.
Right.
I certainly won't discount that. And I'm the first to tell you that, yes, wrestlers first.
Exactly.
And that's what they did. They did wrestlers first. They did wrestlers first. They waited till the end to do Muhammad Ali.
Right. But I think they should maybe have
Ali was there to accept the award.
Right, but maybe they should have a separate category or a separate type of an award for somebody like that. That's maybe a contributor.
Let me ask you a question: if they had put her in like what do they call it, Murph? The legacy wing? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Let me ask Amelia a question. If Muhammad Ali had a match, would he count?
No.
I got to find out what the hell this is. Billy Graham was a fake.
I'll tell you what.
Nettie Slabby. No, hold on there, Murph. I got to find. Nettie.
He got in the ring with Gorilla Monsoon and numerous other wrestlers.
But he didn't have a signed contract as a wrestler like the other wrestlers did. So to me, he wasn't physically a wrestler. And I know, like, we all have a point to disagree because this is a podcast, so we all have our own opinion. But to me, he wasn't a professional wrestler, and I think he should not have had a part of Hall of Fame. So if they maybe could have given him a different award. Yeah, but that's my opinion. But that's my opinion.
Well, no, you're entitled to that, but you clearly don't know the history.
Yeah, but to me, he was a boxer. That's what I grew up knowing him as. So,
well, okay. Well, let me throw a name at you, and Murphy knows where I'm going to go with this. Let me throw a name at you, Jersey Joe Walcott.
Okay.
You don't have any idea who he is?
No.
He was a professional wrestler who turned pro boxer and became 5-time boxing champion of the world. Let me throw another name at you. Antonio Inoki.
Sounds Japanese to me.
He's Japanese. He was a Japanese wrestler who wrestled against Muhammad Ali. Ali boxed, Inoki wrestled. Let me throw another name at you from back in the day. Ricky Starr. Okay? You know who Ricky Starr was?
No.
He was a professional Golden Gloves boxer that became the lightweight wrestling champion of the world. So, yes, absolutely yes. Boxing and wrestling are kindred spirits. They are siblings. They belong together. So, when you're adamant and staunch like that, I'm going to call you on the carpet because I got to say, I don't think that you're being fair. Look, life's not fair, but I don't think you're being fair to the boxing end of the wrestling family. Think of it this way: wrestling is boxing's illegitimate cousin, okay? But they're still family. You understand, Murph?
Okay, I'm going to bring up one person. I actually saw him live, and he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this past weekend. Thunderbolt Patterson, former professional boxer, turned wrestler.
Absolutely. One of the greatest of all time. An amazing boxer.
Yeah.
Hell of a boxer. World champion, too, at one point. Heavyweight boxing champion of the world for, I think, 10 months, maybe. Let's see, who's here? Leon's here.
One of the first few black heavyweight champions in professional wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That man is walking history. Okay. Now, that's the Hall of Fame. Overall, Murph, what'd you think of the Hall of Fame? Overall.
The Hall of Fame, in my opinion, gets an A. Not an A+. It would have got an A+, but when they inducted Thunderbolt Patterson in, they found the whitest of white guys to do the induction for him.
Oh, my God.
Nobody knew who he was. And you couldn't hardly understand what he was saying.
Oh.
I didn't know who the hell it was.
The only other guy that was there that knew him personally was sitting in the audience, and that was Jerry Briscoe.
And Jerry Briscoe's 80 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, now, Hall of Fame is done. All right, so we regroup. We are going to do that right now. I want to say, hey, to Bruce at Bruce's Collision. Bruce, let me tell you something, my friend. I kept my word, and I told you I was going to do something for you. I did this for my friend Bruce, and I took my car to a shop today. Well, I have to tell you something. There are some great people left in the world, and they all work for Bruce at Bruce's Collision. I told Bruce, he didn't charge me, folks. He didn't charge me for what I brought in. And what I brought in was probably a $300 job. Okay? And he didn't charge me a dime. So on behalf of my way of saying thank you is to introduce Bruce to my audience around the world and throughout the United States. And here's how I'm going to introduce Bruce. Take a look at this. For expert bodywork and collision repair, there's only one place in Clementon, New Jersey. It's Bruce's Collision Center at 114 White Horse Pike in Clementon, New Jersey. Call Bruce at 856-783-1475 and tell him the Mad Dog sent you from WWTF Radio, global and around the world. Do you have sweaty balls or volleyball netty balls? It's time to make them ready balls. The Manscaped.com Lawnmower 3.0 will do the job and clean your knob with its patented no-nick head, so your head will function as desired. Enter promo code Wrestling Future for a generous 20% discount. That's enter Wrestling Future for a 20% discount. Manscaped.com and Wrestling with the Future, going balls to the walls with Manscaped.com. and the Lawnmower 3.0, your balls will thank you. And so will we. We are back with What's the Buzz, America's Best Podcast. I am Mad Dog DeCipio, joined by Amelia the Pitbull Chapman and Michael Armageddon Murphy. We are at night one of the main WrestleMania roster. We have 2 nights of this to go through, so let's talk about night number 1. But before we do, we are on the WWTF radio network. I'm sorry, folks. 88.7 on the broadband radio system at www.linktree.com/WWTF radio. Find us there, and you will find a treasure trove of links. We've got every link connected to our show at linktree.com. I want you to go there. Take your time with it. Look around. Hit the links. Follow them all over.
Mm-hmm.
That's links to Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, all of everywhere we are. iHeartRadio. You name it, we're there. So take a look at us there. And like I said, take your time. You're not in a hurry. Pour yourself a drink. Relax.
Mm-hmm.
Except Amelia, you're not allowed to drink except when you go to weddings. That's all. We are Wrestling with the Future. Tonight is Wrestling with the Future, and we are on night 1 of the main events of WrestleMania. I'm going to bring Murph up for. No, you know what? No, I'm going to bring Amelia up for this one. I'll get the Murph. We'll go with Murph match. So Amelia, the card. This is our epic WrestleMania recap. The card. On Saturday night 1 of WrestleMania. We're going to go down to card 1 match at a time. So, what did you think of the Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch match?
Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch. Let's see. Well, I'd rather have had Becky Lynch one because she was one of my favorites. I've really liked her.
Well, that was fast. Murph. What'd you think, Murph, of the Rhea Ripley?
No, she's always been one of my favorite people because
you clearly didn't watch that match.
No, she's been one of my favorites because I think she's real athletic and she's real fast on her feet. And
you just you did to Mike Murphy in 1 minute what you do to me every week. You have me rubbing my head. Looking for the nearest bottle.
I can actually feel the aneurysm starting. Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley. 2 great female wrestlers. I was not fond of the match.
Nor was I.
Becky did not look good, and from what I understand, was ill, fighting 102-degree temperature.
Sure was.
I believe they cut the match short because it wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't telling a story. I think what they should have done, they should have put that match closer to the end of night 1.
Thank you.
I don't think you should start a show with a title match.
And not only that, but you should never start a show with a wrestler who clearly does not look well. She came out not looking well, even with makeup on. You know, she had her ring makeup on, you know, her gimmick. But even with the makeup on, she looked bad. She looked sick. She looked tired. She was not moving well. She should have stayed. Here's my thoughts on that, Mike. Whoever agented that match, whoever was in charge of that match, should have been bitch slapped for sending that poor girl out there.
And then what was the temperature anyway at that night? Remember, it was real cold.
It was 50 degrees. Yeah. It was freezing.
Exactly. You don't do that to somebody that's ill like that.
Well, you're making my point, Amelia. I
Yeah.
said which they should never have put her out there.
Yeah.
So Murph, let's go through that match, you and me. Because I think it's important. I think it's important that you and I talk about what happened during the course of that match and why it was a shit show. You got two great competitors, Rhea and Becky, probably two of the best stars in the women's division WWE has. But when one is on their game and the other is not, it's a lopsided match at the biggest show of the year. And people are paying hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars for them tickets. And I would have been embarrassed to be the agent of that match and send that poor girl out there. I think you're right. They should have either A, waited to the end of the show to do that, or number two, replaced Rhea Ripley with the next competitor in line.
Well, Rhea being the champion, they're not going to replace her. I give Rhea a lot of credit for.
No, I'm talking about replacing Becky Lynch.
Okay. I give Rhea a lot of credit for carrying her for as long as she did.
Oh, absolutely.
Again,
kudos for that.
Again, I think it should have been put at the end of the show. I mean, I've seen Becky Lynch work, and
she's great.
She goes balls to the wall every match.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Now, my cousin, who lives in Brooklyn, his wife works at a Borders Books. Becky Lynch was there doing an autograph signing. Well,
right.
You got everybody coming up, smiling, shaking hands, taking pictures. That's probably where she picked it up from.
Yeah.
She probably got sick. Yeah, you know what they did?
Mm-hmm.
They overworked them because they're doing media appearances. They're doing autograph signings. They're doing book signings. You see, it's WrestleMania weekend, but they got them. Those people are spread out like horse shit, you know?
Yeah.
And most of the time they live for that. But when you're not feeling up to par, go back to the hotel and rest up. Go to sleep. Take a nap. You know? Tell your agent, I don't feel well. You're going to have to either A, cancel the match, which you know they're never going to do, or B, forfeit the match. There's no shame in forfeiting the match, Michael.
But when it's, again, we're talking WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah.
She's not going to forfeit that match.
No, because she's not going to forfeit the money.
Now, her agent, well, that person needs to be strapped to a chair and beaten with hammers. Okay?
Right.
Okay, because, I mean, let's face it, I've wrestled sick. I've wrestled injured.
We all do.
And I don't care how good you are, how big of a name you are, when you're wrestling sick, when you've got the flu, and you've got it coming out of both ends, the last thing you want to do is get in a wrestling ring. Now, will a lot of us do it anyway? Yes, we'll do it anyway, because we're there to entertain the people, and you can't tell us, no, I'm going to look at these people and tell them, no, I know you paid for your ticket, but I can't entertain you tonight because I don't feel well.
Yeah, but the other thing, Murph,
we're not built that way.
The other thing, Murph, the other thing, Mike, is that if you don't wrestle, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
Right. And I look at it like this. If the guy I'm wrestling, and this is a rule that I learned, if the guy I'm wrestling is going over that night and he just happens to drop dead of a heart attack in the middle of the ring, I will pull him over top of me and give him the 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely, it's
That's
happened.
how you do it.
It's Mike.
Yeah, it has happened.
It's actually happened, and I'll tell you who it happened to. Ted DiBiase's father, Iron Mike DiBiase, died in the ring of a heart attack, and the guy that he was wrestling pulled DiBiase on top of him and told the ref count.
Yeah.
Okay, a dead guy won the match. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not even making this up.
No.
All right, the next match on the show. The next match is Austin Theory and Grayson Waller versus Awesome Truth versus the Judgment Day. So, let's talk about that.
He's laughing. I want to hear what he has to say.
Too many people, too many ladders, too many titles.
Thank you.
I've said
Thank you. I think that's the long and short of that match. It really was. It was a very long match that could have been very short and should have been. That match should have lasted 15 minutes. It went 42 minutes. That match alone went 42 minutes. Okay. The next
42 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
You'll never get back. Exactly. The next one I thought was pretty decent. I thought it was a pretty decent match. Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Now, what'd you think of that, Amelia?
Oh, Rey Mysterio, he's always been a great wrestler to me, so I'm glad that he did win. Because he's always been real athletic.
Well, there's something special about that match that nobody caught on to. I asked you specifically because you have a connection to this match.
Hispanic.
They're all Mexican. It was the first all Mexican, and nobody caught it. But it was mentioned during WrestleMania. Every competitor in that match hails from Mexico.
Yeah, and
everyone.
It's weird. And the weird thing is of course, with the masks and stuff like that, if you take a mask off, a lot of the time that's disrespectful in Mexico.
It's disrespectful if you take it off. There's a term they use. Hold on.
Lucha
if
Libre.
You take it off unfitting a luchador.
Yeah.
But if you take the mask off, as a symbol of retirement or a symbol of this is your last hurrah, then it's okay. Because now here's one we got to go there. Murph, you and I are going to talk about this. It's going to take all of about 30 seconds. Brother versus brother, Murphy. We have seen this before. We've seen brother versus brother matches till nauseam in WWE. Why was this different, or was it different, or was it intended to be different? I thought this match was a shit show. I thought they phoned it in. That's just me. And I thought that they didn't really give a shit to whether they were there or not. That's just the feeling I got.
I thought it was a decent match. It wasn't anything to write home about. I think it would have been better if they had Rikishi as a guest referee.
Thank you. Oh, my God. Am I glad to hear you say that.
Anyway, it was nothing to write home about. Now, I want to say real quick, the Andrade, Rey Mysterio, whatever match, tell them to get up here to PA. My grass is getting high.
We'll go outside and cut it.
Oh, that's funny.
She didn't get the joke.
Yeah, I know exactly
No.
what you said. I know exactly what you said, huh?
You got to
And
remember
that's
something,
right. I'm
Merv.
smoking. I don't give a damn.
I
Anyway,
don't either.
She's young. She's young.
no,
Okay.
the Rey Mysterio Andrade match and everything. It was a good match, but the only thing I wonder about it is I've seen Lucha Libre wrestling, and I love Lucha Libre wrestling. I love the athleticism
Oh, I
about
do
it.
too.
Why do they water it down here in the States?
Thank you. I'll never understand why they don't let the luchadors do what they're famous for, which is high flying. That's what they do. They're
Yes.
famous for flying. The luchadors made their name and reputation on the acrobatic because nobody can do it like the luchas. Nobody can do it like the lucha libre. I grew up
Yep,
watching
I
Triple
agree.
WA, out of Mexico, Triple WA. And Antonio Pena was the promoter. He's the guy who gave Conan his big break. But let's talk about this
Mil
next one.
Mascaras.
Oh my God, please. He's still around, you know that?
Mm.
He's still
Isn't it? I
around.
thought he died.
That's what I thought too.
Did he
Jeez.
die? Did he?
I
Did
thought
Will
he
die?
did. I didn't
I
think
think
he was
he's
still
dead.
alive. Mm-hmm.
No, I think he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
I think he
Oh,
died like
okay.
5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that there, Mill.
No, I mean I think he did die because a few years ago.
Here's a match. I got to tell you what. The next match, I was all over the place with this one. Mentally, psychologically, emotionally, I was all over the place because while you had 6 really, really talented women, I think it was overkill on the drama. I really think that the dramatic aspect of this was way overdone. Give you an example of what I'm talking about. You had on one side Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi against Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. Now, 6 great competitors, 6 talented women. But did they all need, first of all, their entrances were longer than the match. Okay? Their combined entrances were longer than the match. Mike, you and I talked about that. About this, the essence of this match. Like, it made no statement. It made no point. Jade
It told
Cargill.
no story.
It told no story, exactly. But Jade Cargill and Naomi, arguably 2 of the best built women in WWE, were wasted on the same team. What I would have loved to seen a 2 against 2 instead of 3 on 3, because it was, again, like I said, they played too much drama into it. There was no backstory. There was no story to be told. It wasn't. It didn't capture me. I wasn't emotionally invested. Emotionally, I wanted the match to end almost as soon as it started. But the one thing that I did see during that match, and maybe you agree or maybe you don't, but when I watched Jade Cargill, that woman needs to be a heel.
That's coming.
Well, I want you to elaborate. That's why I said what I said. I want you to tell everybody like why I think she needs to be a heel, and why you think, because I think you and I are on the same page here.
Well, first off, Jade Cargill wrestling Dakota Sky or Dakota Kai or Oscar or whatever. First off, she's wrestling people that come up to here on her. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Second, the second,
they're little Japanese.
Jade Cargill, beautiful woman, excellent talent, excellent wrestler. I don't see her as a face because she doesn't have the babyface attitude.
No.
She has the I'm here to kick ass and win titles. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to be your buddy.
And it shows.
And yes, and it shows. And I think putting her with Bianca Belair and Naomi, I think that's a big mistake. I don't think it's going to last long. And where the heel turn comes in is where I think Jade Cargill is going to be, well, I am a bigger star than these two. I don't need them. And that's where the heel turn comes in.
And you saw some of that during that match because Jade Cargill purposely distanced herself, especially from Naomi, because I think there's personal heat. I don't know what it is yet, but I think there's personal heat between Jade Cargill and Naomi. I think there's something going on there. That's number one. I would have loved to seen. Here's the match I would have booked. I would have booked Bianca Belair and Naomi against Asuka and Dakota Kai. I would have put Kairi Sane versus Jade Cargill in a single match because I think the two of them are equally matched physically.
Kairi Sane is about what, 5 foot nothing?
No, she's like 5'4".
Okay, and what is Jade Cargill?
About 5'10". But wait a minute. Asuka is 5 foot. Dakota Kai is only like 5'1". You know?
Yeah.
So Kairi Sane is actually the tallest of the three of them.
I'll be honest with you. The one person who impressed me the least was Naomi.
Really? I think she played with her hair too much. She
impressed me the least.
Yeah.
No, that's Bianca.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bianca Belair. I'm sorry. You're right. Well, and she's another one I wasn't impressed with. You know, if she spent as much time wrestling as she did playing with her fucking hair, we would have had a decent wrestling match. But I think
Jade Cargill carried that 6-woman tag match.
Yeah, and I think they need to take her out of the tag division. She needs to be strictly a single, and never, ever again wrestle tag. Because she's not a team player. Not by a long shot.
But I will say this. With Jade Cargill, you're looking at the person who is going to take Rhea Ripley's title.
That's coming. Oh, I know that's coming.
That's my prediction.
Okay, the next one did not in the least come as a surprise to me. Hold on a second. Nettie, listen, I'm sorry, dear, but I'm going to have to kick you out here. We're not talking about OJ. We're not talking about, a preacher. We're not talking about Reverend Billy Graham. We're talking about superstar Billy Graham, the wrestler. So I'm going to have to ask you, if you can't keep it to wrestling, you're going to have to leave the chat, okay? Or I'll have Amelia block you from the chat. In fact, why don't you go ahead and do that, Amelia? Delete her comments from the chat, please. Because I'm not playing. I'm not playing that tonight. Because this is our WrestleMania show, and I want to do our WrestleMania.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Sami Zayn versus Gunther, Mike. let's you and I have this conversation. Sami Zayn and Gunther.
Oh,
Did Gunther did Gunther deserve to lose his title that night?
yes and no. Um, did he deserve to drop the belt? Yes. Did he deserve to drop the belt the way it went down? No. If I wanted to see that match again, I'd turn on Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. And there you have the match. Because that's what it was. The whole thing. I mean, Christ, they even stole lines from the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, breaking news, by the way. Jimmy Thunder from Parts Unknown says, according to Dave Meltzer, Amelia will be inducting Gino Hernandez into the WWE Hall of Fame next year.
Good.
You heard it here first, folks. Our very own Pitbull Chapman will be inducting Gino into the Hall of Fame.
I look forward to it.
Now we'll get back to the fantasy booking here. So here's what I think, Murph. I think you're absolutely right that I'm not a big fan of, and this is just me, I'm not a big fan of babyface champions unless the champion is holding a major, and I mean a major title, like world champion, universal champion. I'm not a big fan of baby faces. First of all, baby faces don't need the title, but if you give a title to a heel, then you've got drama, then you've got story, then you've got emotional investment, especially with a German Nazi like Gunther.
The Nazi.
Go ahead, Murph. Go ahead, Murph.
I think the reason he had to drop the title was because they didn't have anything else for him to do with it. Who else was he going to wrestle for it?
Well, then let's talk about that, Mike. Here's the thing. They had him, and I think it's a fair statement, Murph. They had Gunther wrestling the same 4 people for the last year. I think it's a fair statement. Okay. Why not pull somebody from another division? Pull somebody that's sitting around getting paid doing nothing. Pull them up to the, if they make it in the main roster, let them work. If they do something that's got some juice, let them work. If they suck, throw them back to the minors where they, put them back, to the minor leagues. But don't bring them up to the main if they're not pulling their weight. Let's be honest about it. What has Sami really done this year?
Well, first off, let's look at Gunther for a second. What does he know how to do other than the chop?
A lot if they let him. The guy's a European. The guy is a legit European wrestling champion. He can wrestle. Okay. But they haven't let him because they've been playing forgive me for using this term, folks, but he's been playing the neo-Nazi, the skinhead. He's got Imperium with him. The 2 other German guys, one's Irish, one's Italian, by the way, but they're both German, so that's like a regular smorgasbord there. I think if they let him wrestle, if they really let him work, he's got a lot to offer, but he's got to get rid of the 2 guys with him because they're baggage. They got to let Gunther either go balls to the walls heel or they have to turn him at some point. Because I tell you what's going to happen. You watch this. They gave Sami the title. They're going to snatch it from him in a New York minute, and here's what's going to happen. You watch, it's going to happen. Chad Gables is going to take it from him because they're building the personal heat again between them two. What do you say to that?
I think how it's going to go, and follow my logic here. This weekend, you had a lot of titles change hands.
Yeah.
You have Damian Priest as the World Heavyweight Champion, along with Rhea Ripley. Okay. Now, that leaves Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. I think Dominic and JD McDonough will win the tag titles off of Miz and R-Truth. And I think Finn Balor will become the Intercontinental Champion because I think what's going to happen is that way they have Judgment Day, every one of the Judgment Day holding gold. And Judgment Day is going to be, now that the Bloodline's gone, Judgment Day is going to be the main faction.
That's thank you, and that's exactly where I was. You see, this is what happens, folks, when you're older than dirt, like me and Murph, and you've been watching this shit your whole life. It's predictable. You know where they're going with certain things. They're telegraphing it, but they're doing such a masterful job of telegraphing it that the young generation doesn't know which way is coming and which way is going.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And you have to understand that in order for them to stay fresh and keep people eyeballs on the product, they've got to do things that are unexpected. They're not unexpected to myself and Mr. Murphy because we've seen this play out 20, 30 years ago. Okay? What's new now?
It's called the Four Horsemen.
Exactly. Exactly. No, for real. What's the difference between now and then is you've got a generation of fans watching this that's never seen that before. But guys like us who have lived through it and know where they're going and know that it's a great move if they can pull it off. This is going to be wrestling gold. And like Murph said, Judgment Day is going to carry all the juice. That's the new faction. That's the next Four Horsemen. Watch, it's going to happen. I appreciate that, Murph. I really, really do. I think Gunther's going to be a player, but they have to take those guys away from him. They're holding him back and they're holding him down. And they have to let him, Murph, they got to let him wrestle. Because the chop is getting old.
Notice, they weren't with him. They weren't with him when he lost the title.
I know, and that, believe it or not, I appreciated that they weren't there. But I think you're going to see a lot more from him than just the chop. Okay, now. But and I think they gotta be smart too. I'm gonna talk about Sami a minute. I think they have to be smart how they handle Sami. Because Sami is walking on thin ice as far as the fans are concerned. The fans don't know whether to boo him or cheer him. And when you've got that reaction, you're in trouble. Either they're going to come out and boo the fuck out of you, or they're going to pop so loud the roof pops off the building. They're not doing that, Mike. They're not doing that. Amelia, what can they do different for Sami?
They're not doing it because once Sami left the bloodline, once he lost the titles with Kevin Owens, once they lost the titles, he became a non-factor.
You made my point. You made my point. So now, Amelia,
Mm-hmm.
bringing you up here.
Yes.
Your turn up on the big camera.
Mhm.
What can they do with Sami? Other than see, Mike and I know, and
Mhm.
anybody who knows wrestling knows, you only give a title to somebody that's not getting over.
Right.
And we already know, because I just proved it, that Sami Zayn is not over.
Right.
Okay. So what do you, aside from giving somebody a title to get them over, how do you handle Sami if they decide to pull the strap from him?
Just I would say continue to maybe make him more let's see, what was the word that I was gonna have earlier? Continue making him more, giving him more matches, making him more worthy of it. I would say.
Well, no, the problem
Not
is
worthy
we're
of it, but
giving him matches, but the people aren't buying him. The people are not in the Mike. I'm gonna have to bring you in there.
well, let's see. Go ahead.
Here's the thing,
Mhm.
Murph. You and I know the people are not emotionally invested in Sami Zayn. How would you,
No.
if you're Hunter, if you're Paul Levesque, how do you get the most mileage out of Sami?
Well, Sami is going to be a quick champion. He's going to be a flash in the pan champion.
Absolutely, no question about it.
He's going to hold the title. He's going to wrestle Chad Gable, I think, tomorrow night or next Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Will Chad Gable go over? Who knows? But if he doesn't, I know the next person that he'll probably wrestle, and it's either going to be on TV or it's going to be at a major event like Backlash,
Mm-hmm.
is probably going to be Finn Balor.
Chad Gable has heel written all over him. That kid.
Well, he's going to leave.
Go ahead, Mike.
He's going to leave Otis and what's her name and Kurosawa. Now, Kurosawa, I think, is hurt.
Yeah.
Because Ivar threw him over top of Otis, and he slammed into that retaining wall.
Yeah.
That could have been a job, but I don't think he was. I think that was like, somebody made a mistake.
Yeah.
Because they kind of went to commercial real fast.
They sure the hell did. Yeah. He's out for a bit. I think.
Yeah.
If I'm right, I think Sami's going to be about a 5-minute champion. I think, as I said earlier, I see Chad Gable challenging his buddy Sami. And I think what you're going to see is shadows and remnants of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Because remember, these two guys were friends. They went heel against each other. They did a program for almost a year. Okay. I think you're going to see the same thing now and I think Chad Gables is going to be a monster heel. Mm-hmm. I think this kid's got monster heel written all over him.
If they do it right.
If that's the key, Mike. That's the key. If they do it right. And I sure hope to God they do it right. Amelia, next one. I'm going to have you chime in on this one first. All right, now we're at the main event. This is night 1 of the main event. Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth. Okay, what were your thoughts here? Forget about the result. Now put your paper down. Put your paper down.
It's down.
All right, I want your thoughts on it. Forget the win-loss. I just want your thoughts on it. What did you think of the overall tone of the match?
Well, I mean, to me, I just don't understand why The Rock would be brought back. Why bring a has-been back? He's been and done, over with.
Oh, you don't understand wrestling, girlfriend. Oh, my God.
I don't like The Rock. I mean, to me, they could have brought somebody else with Roman Reigns.
Can I just tell you something? Mm-hmm. You answered your own question. Here's why they did it. You don't like The Rock.
I don't.
Either did 75,000 people in Philadelphia last weekend. Okay? They hated him so much they came out to see him get beat.
Yeah.
But he didn't get beat. Not on night one, anyway.
Nope.
Here's what they do. Again, I got to bring my friend Mr. Murphy up here. This is psychology. It's called ring psychology.
Yeah, it is.
Mike, explain to the novices out there, so the old man don't have a stroke in front of the world. Explain to the novices out there why Roman and Rock had to be there, why they had to bring the world's most famous movie star into Philly to wrestle. First of all, because he's a wrestler. But why did they bring him there?
Yeah. One, to build up heat for...
Listen.
One, to build up heat for the match. They had to bring in somebody that would bring extra gravitas to the match, because we've already had Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, and it was a great match. Now we need Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, but we need to add a little oomph to it. So they bring in The Rock. They turned him heel, mostly because the people complained, no, we don't want Rock wrestling Roman Reigns for the title. Cody won the Royal Rumble. It's his shot. So they decided, well, we'll turn Rock heel. He'll join the bloodline. And now we'll make it to where they have to wrestle Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes on night one. And if Cody wins, hey, he gets Roman Reigns by himself. If he loses, bloodline rules. Anything goes anywhere. Tell me hearing that. Tell me somebody who wouldn't tune in. It's about tuning in, getting people to tune in, and to put asses in the seats. Plus, it's something that'll keep you interested until the moment of the match begins.
I could not have explained that better myself. I sat back and I was grinning from ear to ear. That was spectacular. Here's something people need to understand if you're new to watching wrestling. The suspension of disbelief is what built wrestling to the level it is now, okay? The Rock is such a beloved actor. He's such a highly sought-after personality. But for The Rock to come back home, to WWE, they thought they were going to welcome him back with open arms. But the wrestling fan, did what every star, every major celebrity dreads. The wrestling fan turned on him. You're not welcome home anymore, Rock. Thomas More said it 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Thomas More said, you can't go home again.
That's right.
Okay? But that doesn't apply in wrestling. But what they did, again, Triple H, the Triple H era has begun. Triple H is a wrestler. He's also a wrestling fan. Okay? He's also married to a woman who grew up in the business. Okay? He's a smart guy. This Triple H should have been the world champion of chess, because he played a chess game here that was absolutely brilliant. Okay? Yes. Brilliant. That man is a genius booker. And he deserves to be a millionaire. They don't call him the cerebral assassin for nothing, brother. You're absolutely right. Here's the thing. Oh, and Kenneth is absolutely right. Kenneth Jarrett Singleton. By the way, he was with us last night. He was here. And this is, Amelia, here's the answer. Here's the short answer. Heat equals money. Do you know how much money those fans in Philadelphia spent last weekend?
I can just imagine.
I'm going to give you an estimate of what they believe in 4 days. In 4 days, the WWE reportedly made more than $35 million in 4 days. And that's just from Philadelphia. That's not to mention advertising and pay-per-views and buy rates and stuff like that.
Dang.
And not to mention how much the Peacock Network paid them. Okay? We're talking about... Go ahead, Murph.
Okay. Across both nights in the stadium, 145,298 people. That was just in the stadium.
That was just the paid numbers.
On social media, 660 million views.
Do you hear that? Listen, say that again, Mike.
On both nights, totaling up both nights in the stadium, 145,298 people witnessed it live.
That was just in the stadium.
On social media, 660 million views.
That's staggering.
That means that just about everybody's television set was tuned to it.
Yep. Everybody in the world who had Peacock watched it. Okay?
Yep.
That
I was one of
Peacock. Peacock was thrilled to pay $2 billion for that. You know why? Because that $2 billion they paid for it made them probably $12 billion.
Oh, yes, I can imagine, of course.
Don't forget, just the ad revenues alone. The ad revenues is where you make the money. Okay, I'm going to give you L.A. Knight. He's the new spokesman for Slim Jim. Okay? I think that God bless Slim Jim. God bless Slim Jim for keeping Randy Savage's memory alive in the Slim Jim commercial. Okay? Because Slim Jim, because of Randy Savage, is still a part of WWE and wrestling. Okay? And Slim Jim.
Not to mention.
Go ahead, Mike.
Not to mention the fact that the car that LA Knight pulled up in.
Yes.
He walked to the ring and gave the keys to that car to a random person.
Yeah.
That's their car now. They won that car.
Yes. Yeah. And that's for real. That's a shoot, by the way. They gave that car away to some. They gave that.
I don't even know what kind of car it was.
It's a $70,000 car.
Oh my goodness! Oh.
It's a custom night. It's a custom $70,000 Mustang. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a custom $70,000 Mustang with a Slim Jim wrap on it. Okay, that's like that's a one of a kind car, and somebody drove that motherfucker home that night. So let's talk about the impact, Mike and Amelia. Let me bring you. I'm going to bring you both up here. Hold on. Let's talk about the impact of The Rock and Roman. By the way, have you noticed that all of them, their last names started with R? Roman Reigns, Rhodes, and Rollins.
Triple
Think
R.
about that. All of them. 4
Mhm.
R's. Let's talk about the impact. Amelia, what do you think the impact of that first night? What did that first night do for the people in the stadium, for the people watching at home? What did it do for wrestling fans?
It got them riled up and ready for the next night. And it's like, oh my God, this is exciting. I can't wait. I'm here. And it got them ready to boo the rock, like you were saying. And it's got wrestling fans ready and excited again. I mean, it brought wrestling. It's like, oh my
That's
God, this is
stop
wrestling
right
again.
there. Stop right there. That was the word I was looking for. You said it. I was
hmm
I was going to ream you out, but you said the word. That match got people excited again about wrestling.
hmm
Now, did it get them excited enough to go spend the extra mile and go to night 2?
Yes.
Well, yes, it did.
hmm
Because Mike Murphy just rattled the numbers off almost in 2 nights. Almost 148,000 people in 2 nights. Okay, 146 and change, right? That's just in that stadium. There were 26,000 people at the Wells Fargo Center Friday night. There were 25,000 people at the Wells Fargo Center Monday night. That's an extra 50,000. So the official number for all the events, and I have it here, the official number for all the events, including Monday Night Raw, 204,796 for 4 nights. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's almost 250,000 people just in Philadelphia that went there from around the world to see that in that stadium that night. And that's a big ass stadium. I've been to that stadium. That's a big stadium. Go ahead, Murph.
I was going to say, now you see the Paul Levesque, Amelia, you see the Paul Levesque era compared to the Vince McMahon era. Vince McMahon, on his best day, would not pull those kind of numbers.
Not even close. Not even. Do you know that they set a
But see,
record?
Paul,
yeah, I was
he's
going
a
to say,
thinking
Murph.
man's wrestler.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They set a new record for Monday Night Raw. That was the largest crowd in the history of Raw. 24,461 people. Okay. The Philadelphia Wells Fargo Center holds 25,020 people. 25,020 is the exact number of seats in that building. I've been in that building. It's a very, very big building.
Yep.
It's bigger than Madison Square Garden. Okay. That's how big that place is. It's bigger than the Garden. And they drew the biggest number for Raw in the history of Raw in that night. They broke every kind of record that weekend for wrestling, especially for WrestleMania. The biggest numbers they ever did. And Paul Levesque said it. He said it. These numbers are going to be hard to beat. He said, but we're going to try next year. Okay, now, we got to talk about night number 2. Can I be honest with you guys? I was really mixed. You and I both, Mike, we agree we don't like championship matches as a curtain jerk. 2 nights in a row, they pulled a championship match to open the show. I think they failed the first night. I'm still, and I want to hear your opinion on this. I'm still torn as to whether Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins was worth putting on first, or should they have waited later in the card?
No, because I know why they did it. First off, Seth Rollins brought something back to wrestling that was desperately missing: a flamboyant opening. When he came down the ring, that was beautiful. Something you haven't seen
Mummers.
in decades.
With the Mummers.
Something you haven't seen in decades. And he's wearing a robe that Ric Flair would be envious of.
Yes.
Okay, now, now, why did they have Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre start off the show? Well, one, Seth's body is pretty much shot. Okay,
Yeah.
It's pretty much shot. They had to give him time after the match so he could come back at the end of the show as coming in during what do you call it, tribal rules, so he could come back in and help Cody.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, let's face it, he had to be helped up off the floor.
Oh,
because
God,
his knee and his back are shot. He needs time off to get fixed and get healed up. So putting him on the curtain, I see it. I understand why. And plus, I wouldn't call it a curtain jerk, because if you had both nights together, well, he's in the middle of the show.
Yeah. Kenneth Jarrett Singleton says the following Raw had a record 3.5 million viewers. Wow. That's a lot of people watching Raw. They haven't, let me tell you something. They haven't seen those kind of numbers, Mike Murphy, since the Attitude Era 22 years ago. 3.5 million viewers. Yeah. Okay, so now we understand why and the truth is, we're going to break kayfabe. The truth is that that Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are taking much needed time off to spend some time together with their child, and they're going to go on vacation, and they're going to travel a little bit. And my understanding is my understanding is he's got some procedures to get done that he wants to get done now so he can heal up in time. Because it does take it does take a toll on you for I mean, think about Saturday night. Rollins, he hit that knee hard. Even I went ouch. Okay, that was a shoot. That was a shoot. That knee he buckled for real. Okay. Because you can tell when a guy's working the leg and when he's like legit hurt, and he was hurt. But again, you look at a guy like Mike Murphy, who you have to get used to working hurt. That's just what you do. Okay, so
sometimes it comes to the point that no matter how much you suck it up, there's got to come to a point where you say, I can't.
Exactly. And I think he got to that point, Mike. Let's talk about the McIntyre Rollins. Okay, so it was clear that Rollins was going to drop the strap to Drew. It was also clear because, again, Drew is not super over, and again, Drew McIntyre is a guy who, okay, what else is left for him to do? There's not much left for him to do. Send him on vacation, send him away for a while, Let him rest up. Let him come back fresh, which I think is coming. It was inevitable.
Yeah.
It was inevitable. Damian Priest had to cash in. He had to cash in his Money in the Bank contract for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's the new breed, okay? He's the new kid in town. It's his first major championship. His first big time world championship ever, right? So,
Yeah.
given that, I think it was great that they did that. Here's my problem, though. Did they really need to bring CM Punk down? And what did he serve getting into a pissing contest with Drew?
I think it served as the swerve. Because how well, I mean, okay. He wins the title. Seth Rollins drops the title. Drew McIntyre wins it. Okay. Well, Drew McIntyre is still solid. He's not half out. Well, we've seen where the winner of the match is laying there. He's half dead. He's almost out. And that's when the guy comes in to, the Money in the Bank holder comes in and cashes in so he can get the 1, 2, 3 quick win. Okay. Yeah. Well, they didn't have that this time. They needed a reason. Now, again, ring psychology. They needed a reason. So, because if you'll notice, when CM Punk was out on the outside at the interview table, talking to the fans and stuff and the other commentators, he didn't have his arm brace on. But when he was sitting with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, he had it on.
Let's stop right there for a minute, Murph. Murph, stop right there. Let's talk about that, because that went, you don't even know how many people that went up and over on. Okay? When he was outside the stadium, like Murph said, he was outside the stadium talking to people and, doing color and stuff. He gets inside at the announce desk, and all of a sudden he's got his arm brace on, right? First of all, I know, because I know wrestling, I know we're not the only people who noticed that. Why did you think they made it so obvious, Murph? Why did they make it so in your face?
I think they made it so in your face was that, see, this way, Damian Priest gets the title.
Yeah.
And it now can start a new feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Because let's be honest, WrestleMania is the time to where all feuds come to a conclusion
or begin,
and new ones start.
Exactly.
I just said that.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Here's the thing, and it ties into what I said a moment ago about Drew McIntyre. What's left for him to do? The only thing he hasn't done yet is pick a fight with CM Punk, which he did at WrestleMania night number 2. Okay, now, Nelia, I'm going to throw this one at you because I know how you love tag team wrestling. Bobby Lashley, the Pride, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford, with the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Akeem and Razor. Talk to me about the dynamics of that match. Where did you think it? Did it go where you think it was going to go, or did it swerve you?
He's like,
what the fuck was that?
I have no idea what he was doing. He was like throwing up or something.
Bobby Lashley.
Oh. Go ahead, Neil.
Actually, the only match that I really watched that night was the Cody Rhodes one. Is the one that I really watched that night.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
I
You
didn't
didn't
really
watch
get to watch all of that
Oh
because
my God. Okay.
mm-mm.
Okay, Murph. Go ahead. Murph, this is all you, brother. Have at it. Have at Bobby Lashley and just go for it. I'm gonna put you up on the big camera and let you roll.
Well, first off, Bobby Lashley and whoever these other two guys are,
Yeah,
watching
exactly.
them wrestle to me is like watching them
Exactly. Who the
wrestle
hell are they?
is like right. It's watching them wrestle to me is like throwing up in my mouth a little bit. Okay, like, and I hate to say this, I really do because I've always been a Paul Ellering fan, but what is Paul doing? What does he do other than stand here like this?
He collects a paycheck.
He's
What the hell does he do?
right.
I don't
He
know
stands there with a scowl on his face.
Well, let's
He's got
talk
these
about
two
that.
big behemoths. Well, hold on. He's got these two big behemoths.
Yes, sir.
and they can't beat Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits? Are you for real?
I don't get.
I would rather.
Yeah,
I would rather
don't
stick
get,
needles in my eyes.
I know. I'm with you. I don't get why you take a 72-year-old Paul Ellering, dress him in bad leather, and stick him with a couple of guys that are, old enough to be embryos. He served no purpose. That match was an abortion. It really, really was. It was a match that should never have happened. It was a mismatch in every way, shape, and form. And it again, talk about storytelling. It told no story. It absolutely told no story. But however, the match that did tell an amazing story and more, in my opinion, more than made up for it. In fact, it more than made up for a couple of matches there was LA Knight and AJ Styles. So Amelia, I hasten to ask Amelia, but I'm going to ask her anyway because I get scared when I ask her stuff.
No, don't
Did
do
you
that.
watch this match?
Not really. Like I said,
Okay, Murph, you're up again. AJ and LA Knight.
AJ
Talk to me,
Styles
kid.
versus LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I am a fan of AJ Styles, mostly because I was on a card with Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. I was on the same card with them, and I watched those two do one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. Plus, I got to drive them to the airport, so I actually had, in an SUV I used to have, I had Samoa Joe sitting next to me and AJ Styles asleep in the back seat.
Yeah.
So
I've heard that story.
I ad nauseum. I don't think AJ Styles has ever really gotten the push that he deserves.
I think I beg to differ. I think he's finally, after 20 years in the business, he's finally getting that push now. I think he's getting it because of Triple H. Because Hunter really likes AJ. Vince McMahon, for whatever reason, and this is true, if I'm not making this up, Vince McMahon does not like Southern wrestlers. And AJ Styles is a hardcore, through and through, born and bred Southern wrestler. and spent his entire career in either WCW, NWA, or TNA, all Southern-based companies. Okay? I think the fact that... Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Not only that, but the time off that he put to really good use, because you can see he's bigger, he's more cut, he's more defined.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, if you want to see a kid that can do it all, it's AJ Styles. Now, that's taking nothing away from LA Knight. LA Knight,
oh no,
another great talent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I thought it was a really good match. I don't think it ran long enough.
I thought it should have went another 8 to 10 minutes longer.
Yes, agreed.
I don't know why they cut it short, Mike, because let's be honest, the next match after that was Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul in that, the three-way dance they did.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they even did a three-way on that. Other than the only thing that even makes sense to me as a promoter, I'm putting my promoter hat on. The only thing that even makes sense to me is to give Logan Paul the extra push. Like, here you go, kid. You've been with us for a little while now. We're going to put some juice behind you. We're going to put you with two of our mainstays, and they're going to push you up to the moon. That's the only thing I can. Yeah, right. But I don't know what I don't know what it is about Logan Paul that Paul Levesque sees, because I think he's adequate. I don't think he's special. I don't know why they used Kevin Owens and Randy Orton to do it. They could have used any number of other guys. They could have just used Kevin Owens by himself or Randy by himself. Why did they have to use both of them? In other words, what I'm saying, Murph, that it didn't need to be a three-way.
The reason... Well, I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, go ahead.
Think the reason...
Smart ass.
I think the reason that they're giving Logan Paul a push is because, let's face it, after July 20th, somebody in that family is going to need to be making money, because the other brother's going to end up with brain damage. All right? Because the other brother is fighting Mike Tyson.
Jake Paul, Logan's brother, Jake.
And I think they're giving a push because, okay, Logan Paul trained by Shawn Michaels. At first, we all took it like a joke.
Yeah.
Then he started showing some stuff by some of the highest high-flying moves that he did.
Yeah.
But now he's showing that, hey, maybe he can really do this.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think that's exactly the reason they're pushing him. I don't think that anything that Paul Levesque is doing is being done accidentally. I think he's got an absolute purpose for everything he's doing and why he's doing it, the timing that he's doing it. Why is he choosing now? And why is he using WrestleMania as the vehicle to do it? Well, the answer is very simple. He's doing it now because he thinks the kid is ready, and he's using WrestleMania because it's the most eyeballs at any one given time on this kid named Logan Paul. it's going to push him into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
And he's going to make all kinds of
Yeah.
money without getting beat up by Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sorry. I laugh every time I think of Jake Paul getting in the ring with Mike Tyson, because the minute Mike Tyson hits him, like I said, he's going to have brain damage.
Yeah. He's going to be answering the call from another zip code. Amelia, I got to get you in here, Mel.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you go. Here's
Sorry, the
one
dogs
for
were
you.
barking a little bit, so I had to.
Oh, I got to get you in here. Let's talk about the women's match. You know, Iona Sky and Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the Bailey and Iona Sky match?
I mean, to me, I'm not really fond of the women wrestling kind of thing because I always grew up with the men's
You
wrestling.
said that before. Why don't you like women's wrestling?
Well, I think women's probably gonna hate me, but I think wrestling is a man's world.
I don't know how to respond to that one.
I mean, to think about it, I mean, I know women want to get into wrestling, things like that, but I mean, if you're gonna be into
Amelia,
wrestling,
I think people like Donna Christanello, Mae Young, Fabulous Moolah, June Byers, Penny Banner, Mildred Burke, I think they would disagree with you. Wrestling is not a men's sport. If
you got it, you got it. But a lot of them should just be managers, because some of them are going, like he was saying, some of the women took like 30 minutes just going to the ring.
Are you sure you're a woman?
Yes.
Because you sound like a male chauvinist.
I'm sorry, but I mean,
let me say something, folks. For all the folks listening to this, Amelia said that, not Angela or I.
Thank you,
Amelia. Please direct the hate towards her, not us.
Because she sounds like a male chauvinist pig.
No, I mean, it's just like, if you're gonna go into wrestling, go to the damn ring, go wrestle. Quit taking 30 minutes to go to the ring. Just get your dang person, get a ring. Quit playing with your damn hair and go wrestle. Period.
I'm shocked. I think Murph just had a heart attack. What the fuck? My friend Murphy.
It just depends who you are going to be, like, as a wrestler. I mean, some of the Princess Victoria, she's a great wrestler, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, to me, the way they started wrestling from like when I saw the wrestling, when Vince McMahon had it, thank goodness, hopefully Triple H could do something about it now, but he had all these women half naked.
Whoa. I got to smarten you up. Hold on.
With
Vince
McMahon. I'm sorry. Vince McMahon had these women half naked. I mean, remember that era?
No, excuse me. That was Vince Russo, somebody who I know, by the way.
Oh my God. Okay. Half naked women. And hopefully now.
That was my friend Vince Russo.
Your lookalike, as people say.
But, they say I look like Vince. I do actually, but.
Hopefully now, if there is going to be some respectful lady wrestlers, that maybe
keep opening your mouth. You're going deeper and deeper.
You are digging that hole right to China.
Yeah, please direct, as Mr. Murphy said, direct all your correspondence to Amelia, the Pitbull Chapman, care of What's the Buzz Popcast at gmail.com. We absolve ourselves of that hate and chicanery. We're two good Catholic boys.
Hey, I'm the Pitbull. I gotta act that way.
Oh my God! Oh, you're in trouble.
You have just said not only women's wrestling, but women's rights back 100 years.
Yeah, no shit. Okay, Amelia. Forget that I gave you that match. Okay, Murph. Let's talk about the big one, Mike. Let's talk about the big one.
Well, hold on a second.
I
want to say the Bailey match. I didn't see it because I was traveling home. I didn't see it. I caught the ending of it, But I want to say they did not. I don't think they gave Bayley's match in WrestleMania the push that it should have gotten.
Exactly. I think it, to me, and this is just to me, it seemed to me like the match was thrown together at the last minute. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like somebody threw it together like at the last minute.
To fill a spot, probably.
I don't know. I can't make heads or tail out of it.
I saw where the storyline had been started and going.
Right?
I don't think it got as much coverage or a push. And I hate to say this, but I think the the other matches overshadowed it a lot.
And I think you're absolutely right on both counts. I don't think they gave it the push, and I think it was way overshadowed by the anticipation of what's going to happen next. Because the Cody and Roman, they were up and ready. They were the next ones up.
Oh yeah,
and they wasted no time. I mean, they wasted no time getting into that shit at all. And that was a hell of a match. Okay, Murph, your thoughts on Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. The story, is it over or is it just starting?
I think one chapter is finished and another one is beginning.
Okay, where does Cody go now?
Where does Cody go now? Well, I think we're going to find out tomorrow night on SmackDown.
Okay.
And as far as Roman Reigns and The Rock and The Undertaker and John Cena and Solo and Seth Rollins, I thought all the run-ins were good. I think that what's the guy's name? Craig something or other, one of the announcers? The one with the Peaky Blinders haircut and the tattoos up on his neck.
Yeah, that's Corey Graves.
Corey Graves. Corey Graves needs to have a seat somewhere in the back where he can't be seen or heard.
I agree.
Because earlier that day, it's like, hey, the Undertaker's been spotted in the building.
Yeah.
And then I think the Undertaker would have gotten a bigger pop if he hadn't have said that and people didn't know that he was there because he gave it away.
He sure the hell did. And by the way, he got fined for that. He got fined for that. The other person who got fined happened on Saturday night. We've been needing to talk about this. It's really important. During a commercial break in night one, The Rock and Roman Reigns put the beat down to one of the referees, legit. And The Rock was fined $50,000 cash immediately that night for hurting a referee and sending him to the hospital for real. I don't know
why.
Nobody's saying. They're not saying what the impetus of the incident was, but they are acknowledging that the referee did get hurt. He did seek medical attention and was sent to a Philadelphia hospital, and that The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, was fined $50,000 by Paul Levesque. And that's been confirmed by WWE, and it's been confirmed by The Rock himself, who had to issue a verbal and written apology on that. Now, that said, it's certainly $50,000 is of no consequence to The Rock, because he's making, he's got multiple millions and millions of dollars. So that's not a problem. But we need to talk about.
Was it the referee from Friday night?
It happened
Saturday
Saturday
night?
night. Yeah, it happened Saturday night. But we need.
I saw Saturday night where The Rock looked at him and he said, you know, if I tell you not to fucking count, you don't fucking count.
That's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about. Because when they went to a commercial break, The Rock pulled that referee out of the ring and started beating him for real. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
There's no need for that.
So you did see it then. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, now the match of the night. The match of the night. Cody versus Roman. This was Bloodline Rules match. Let me offer my opinion on this here because I got something to say about it. I think if you watched that match and you saw it from the beginning to the end, you knew clearly this was a defining moment in the Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H era. Because you saw two things occur, or let's put it this way. You saw two things that did not occur right away in this match. You did not see outside interference until almost at the end of the match. And when you did, it was very quick succession. They brought in The Rock. They brought in The Undertaker. They brought in John Cena. They brought in Randy Orton. Everybody was like, boom, 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 boom. It was like rapid succession. And they did it right. That had Paul Levesque all over it. That's keeping them, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? What's next? What's next? That's how you build momentum. That's how you build suspense. Are they going to fuck Cody over again? Or is this guy going to beat all the odds? And what you saw was the result of some of the most masterful booking I've ever seen in a WrestleMania, period, bar none. Your thoughts, Mr. Murphy?
I thought when Jimmy and Jey Uso came out and Jay took Jimmy out off the stage.
Yes.
That was the start. Solo Sikoa comes out, and you think, okay, here we go. We got a repeat of last year. John Cena comes out and takes out Solo Sikoa. Then The Rock comes out. Now you've got The Rock and John Cena in the middle of the ring while you give a break to Roman Reigns and to Cody Rhodes so they can gulp some air. And you got The Rock and John Cena. Okay?
They did it right.
Cena gets tossed out. Now who does it? Okay. Well, who's going to be next? While everyone's looking at the entrance, then all of a sudden you hear the bell.
Exactly.
Now you got the Undertaker. Takes out
exactly
Rock,
what I'm talking about.
Takes a power. Now we're back to Cody and Roman. It had just enough of the one-on-one in the beginning.
Perfect.
You had your swerve. Perfect. Now you got your end. And what I kind of figured Cody was going to win that night because I don't think they had any other direction they could go with it. And I think if Roman would have won, the hate mail that would have been pouring in would have been phenomenal.
Let me tell you something that would have happened. And the fans gave away the precursor. There was a sign, a very big, very visible sign that the camera kept going to. It said, if Cody loses, we riot.
Yep. I saw that.
Yep. The sign said, if Cody loses, we riot. Don't forget something. Everything that you see at home, Bruce Pritchard and Paul Levesque are seeing at the gorilla position, because they're looking at the same monitor that the guys out front are looking at. That's how they're calling spots. Okay? And I believe for the first time, I believe that if Cody would have lost, there would have been a $75,000, $80,000 pile up. I mean, 80,000 people pile up in the middle of that ring at Lincoln Field. I believe absolutely they would have rioted. Oh, listen, we're talking about Philly, okay? These are people that booed Santa Claus. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was there.
Well, it's been a long night, folks, but I'll tell you what, it's been a good night. Before I close it out one more time, let's have a word from Manscaped and our new...
Do you have sweaty balls or volleyball netty balls? It's time to make them ready balls. The Manscaped.com Lawnmower 3.0 will do the job and clean your knob with its patented no-nick head, so your head will function as desired. Enter promo code Wrestling Future for a generous 20% discount. That's enter Wrestling Future for a 20% discount. Manscaped.com and Wrestling with the Future, going balls to the walls with Manscaped.com and the Lawnmower 3.0. Your balls will thank you, and so will we.
For expert bodywork and collision repair, there's only one place in Clementon, New Jersey. It's Bruce's Collision Center at 114 White Horse Pike in Clementon, New Jersey. Call Bruce at 856-783-1475. And tell him the Mad Dog sent you from WWTF Radio, global and around the world. It's a special Thursday night edition of Wrestling with the Future, talking about WrestleMania. It's our WrestleMania recap. Well, I'll tell you what, Amelia, it was a heck of a show tonight. What did you think?
That was great. And you know how we were talking about the sound of the radio and everything like that. I remember hearing Samantha Irving. You could barely actually hear her when she announced Cody Rhodes. The sound, because everybody was just roaring like here.
Oh yeah, they drowned her out.
Winner.
Sure.
Yeah, the American Nightmare. I mean, you could barely hear her. I mean, it was so loud.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'll tell you what though, that girl's got a hell of a singing voice. You ever hear her?
I love her announcement voice. It's awesome.
She can sing.
Really?
When we're talking about Samantha Irvin, Mike, that young lady that does the announcing for them, girl's she's a hell of a singer.
Ricochet's girlfriend.
Yeah, Ricochet's girlfriend. Yeah, we actually didn't talk about Monday night, but you know what? We went so long now. You realize that we've been here for 2 hours and 15 minutes talking about WrestleMania? I knew it was going to be a long show. That's why I broke a 2-hour block for us, because I knew we were going to be here for a little while. Let me tell everybody what's going on here. You can reach Mike Murphy on Facebook. Just look for the guy Mike Murphy. He's sitting on a chopper. You can find Amelia on Facebook. It's Amelia Valerio Chapman. Just if you can't find her there, just go to our What's the Buzz page on Facebook, because she lurks in the shadows. She's always somewhere. Anyway, and so Amelia, what do we got going on? Tell everybody what's happening.
Actually, we have next week. We're going to be talking about Billy Jack Hayes.
Billy Jack Hayes. We are going to talk about the troubled existence of Billy Jack Hayes, a guy who was once the most promising wrestler in WWE and made a name for himself, made money, made friends, but all of a sudden, somewhere along the way, something happened to Billy Jack mentally, emotionally, and he became a very different, very strange kind of guy. I don't know if he suffered with mental illness. Clearly, there was something not right there, but I'm not gonna judge. We're just gonna talk about the facts as they exist. He is going to face trial for the murder of his wife, the second-degree murder. They're categorizing, and I don't know how, killing somebody is killing somebody. A second-degree murder. His wife, by the way, was 13 years older than him. But Billy Jack is like 60.
She was 85.
Yeah, 85. Substantially older than he. Because I know he's near 70. I think 69 or 70, somewhere around there. But clearly something wasn't right with Billy Jack Haynes, and we're going to delve into that discussion and find out. Amelia, what else we got coming up?
The 16th, we're going to be doing a show with Angry Geeks.
Angry Geeks. Tell everybody what that is. We're going to do a simulcast.
Mm-hmm.
Where actually our podcast is going to team up with another podcast, and we're going to be on their show, and they're going to be on our show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a little different, something different for us. We're going to try it, and it's either going to succeed beautifully, or it's going to be a fart in church.
Right.
Either way, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it either way. As long as people listen, I don't care.
Yeah.
So listen, Michael Armageddon Murphy, thank you, my friend, for being here with me tonight. You shed some interesting opinion. Because apparently Amelia didn't watch the show.
I didn't watch a lot of it because I had some other stuff going on, but I did.
I know she had to make TikTok videos, folks.
No, I had some other personal stuff going on.
TikTok duets. I know her.
No.
Yeah, I know this woman. She lives on TikTok. Oh my God.
I had other stuff going on.
Anyway, for Amelia Pitbull Chapman, for Michael Arma Murphy, I am myself. I am the Mad Dog, Angelo DeCipio. I will see you next week, God willing, and the creek don't rise, on What's the Buzz, America's Best Popcast. Until then, enjoy your weekend, everyone. Stay cool, stay dry. It's going to rain in the Northeast. Find somebody to cuddle with. Take care, folks. Good night.